Isaiah Horton was projected to be wide receiver 1 for Miami in 2025, but instead, he might be the top dog in the SEC because he's committed to Alabama. Let's grade the move. Welcome on into SEC Unfiltered. He's Dave Shumate. I'm Cole Thompson. And today we talk about the 6'4" phenom leaving Coral Gables and headed to Titletown. Real quickly, make sure that you like the video, hit the ring notification down below because we talk college football every single day on this channel. That's why you should subscribe. Download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Follow us on the socials, link in the description. Follow me at Mr. Cole Thompson, Dave at Mock 10 Sports, and check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. This episode is brought to you by our friends over at GameTime. Download the GameTime app and use the promo code SECU at sign up to get $20 off your first purchase. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not just for college football. It's for college basketball. It's for the NHL. It's for the NBA. It's for your favorite concert. Your favorite comedians coming to town. Go use the GameTime app. Download it. Make sure you use the promo code SECU. Have a good laugh on us and get $20 off your first purchase. Isaiah Horton is a really intriguing prospect, Dave, because this is somebody with proven experience working as a complementary piece opposite of Xavier Restrepo, opposite of Arroyo. He's played in a system that has a mobile quarterback and a guy that is unafraid to uncork it down the field. And now he's coming to Alabama. Now he is going to be a part of this Crimson Tide offense going from year 1 to year 2 and then transition underneath Kalen DeBoer. And there's an immediate role for him because of all the wide receivers that we saw enter the transfer portal in the last several weeks from Tuscaloosa.
No, yeah. I mean, I think he'd be a good fit in there. Again, he's probably not a true number one, has the ability, but he fits in kind of that basketball roster mold of this wide receiver group of, like you mentioned, there were some guys that leave, but there's still a good core group there. You got Ryan Williams coming back, probably in the 6'6" range there. You got Jeremy Bernard, same 6'6". Cole Adams, who didn't play a lot this year, but could be that slot guy, return some punts for him. He's coming back. He's in the 5'10" range. And like you mentioned, Isaiah Horton in the 6'4" range could be that big body possession guy you could need in the red zone. I like him in the screen game. He can win at all 3 levels. He's got some shiftiness to him. Like, it has some good, just feel natural knack to setting up his blocks in the screen game. You go back and watch some of his stuff, especially from 23 and even some this year. Like, you feel like, man, he's got a real feel for the screen game when they get it out there. He knows how to set up blocks, knows how to set up potential tacklers, and then go to the other side, set them up, and just almost dead leg them at times. So I was very impressed with that across the board. I think this would be a phenomenal take. Is he just like a total day one difference maker? No, but he's a great addition to a wide receiver room. It already kind of has its key foundation there with Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard.
He's your prototypical X receiver, 6'4", 205 pounds. He's really big. He shows off the ability to work from the outside. He can make a lot of contested catches. He is a pretty good route runner. He wins a lot when it comes to separation. I think it just fits on what you're looking for because what's missing. You no longer have Kendrick Law. You no longer have Kobe Prentice. You no longer have several of these players and Caleb Odom that was going to be probably that difference maker opposite of the speed of Ryan Williams and the route running of Jeremy Bernard. So you're adding that in now. You're bringing in somebody that I think can come be a day one difference maker, even if it's as a wide receiver 2, a wide receiver 3, maybe it's a wide receiver 4. There's sometimes just certain roles that you have to play. When you are 6'4", when you weigh over 200 pounds, when you are a physical blocker in the run support, when you've shown that you can work on the outside, when you've shown your ability to win across the middle of the field and create separation, even if it's 4 or 5 catches a game, you'll take those 4 or 5 catches because usually it leads to first downs. Usually it leads to a substantial pickup. Usually you'll look back at that drive and you'll realize we are not in the end zone without a guy like Isaiah Horton setting it up.
Yeah, I mean, you see some of these, and I think we all like to watch the highlights and stuff and the big vertical plays, but you see some of his stuff. I mean, he's catching balls that are contested, bringing them in with his strong hands, and then just falling forward for 6 to 8 yards. I mean, on a highlight, you're watching YouTube, that doesn't really come off as impactful, but on Saturdays in the fall, like, hey, man, he got it. It's like a third down moving machine. He comes off to me as a guy. It's like, this could be your big third down guy. It's like, hey, we need a 3rd and 6 big to extend a drive. This is that guy that's going to go possess the football, like I mentioned, with his strong hands and fall forward because he's got a lot more natural strength. He looks a little wiry, but I always like to see prospects in person. I mean, you can't ever get a body type without seeing him in person. I haven't seen him in person, but again, he looks like he plays a lot stronger than his frame maybe would make you believe.
There's also a proven concept when it comes to him. Last season, over 600 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. He's played the role of number 2 and number 3 behind Xavier Restrepo and Jacoby George. He's worked with different quarterbacks before. There's also a proof of concept with this offense, seeing better results for wide receivers. Go back in year 2 when everyone was kind of able to get the understandings of Kalen DeBoer in Seattle. nearly 3 1,000-yard playmakers in a trip to the national championship. So it does feel like this is a really good match. They need an X wide receiver to pair alongside with Jeremy Bernard, to pair alongside with Ryan Williams, with some of their young up-and-comers. They need somebody that can come on in and be a day one, at least role player. I think that that's what you're going to get in a guy like Isaiah Horton. Let's grade the move. Dave, as you and I always do, we break this down: elite, all league, winnable plus, winnable minus. Just real quickly go through it. And what do you think? Because I'm not ready to say he's all league. I think he could get to all league by the season's end, but he definitely feels like that winnable plus because of what he provides, what's missing out in Tuscaloosa. That is a just bona fide seal of approval, no questions asked.
Yeah, so this grading scale here, this is essentially what Georgia and Oregon use right now. So when I worked at Georgia 2015 and 16, a couple months with Kirby Smart and them, they developed this. Again, Nick Saban used a lot of the Bill Belichick critical factors that a lot of the people that worked at Alabama, that tree came from. But this is more modern now. Like, you're putting real grades. So a lot of these college programs, this is what I used to use in my 9 years working college football. But elite, that speaks for itself. These are the dudes of dudes, the no-brainers. Your wife, for you, all you males out there, and even for you, for our lady listeners here, anyone could tell you this guy's a good player if he's rated elite out there. I use the wife's thing because I remember Mark Rick always just putting evaluations. Hey, my wife could tell you this guy's really good. But day one, rare starter, Travis Hunter, Caleb Williams, Will Anderson, Jeremiah Smith, all league. Again, this isn't where a lot of your roster is going to be. These are real dudes too. Like, for sure, year one starters as freshmen out of high school and stuff like that. These are these kind of guys, again, in that kind of no-brainer range. Winnable plus. We talk about it all the time in this reaction. This is where you want the majority of your team at. If you're grading like your top 10 guys and you hit on 6 out of 7 of these guys and they turn into winnable pluses, 67% of these guys of your class turn into winnable plus guys, you got a championship roster across the board. This is where the core of your team needs to be when you're constructing a roster in college football right now. And then winnable minus. Again, don't look at the minus here from a grading system and think of it's bad. It's a player you can win with, but not because. You got to surround them with other good players here. I think wide receiver is a good spot. You can get a lot of winnable minuses. Offensive line, defensive line, where it's a group of guys, really. You're not going to see that. I mean, yeah, you could see that some in college football now at the quarterback spot, but your quarterback, a lot of teams are not going to take a guy that's a winnable minus guy they know going in at the quarterback spot unless it's a backup. Jag, just a guy, player of interest. But here, I'm going to go winnable plus, Barry. Again, you know me. I don't give a lot of elite, all-league grades right there. But I think winnable plus here because I think you mentioned what Kalen DeBoer did the last time he had 3 big-time receivers in Seattle. They went on a run there. You got the Jalen Polk, Roma Dunze type of guys. McMillan was a big-time player as well for them. You like to see that. I think this is a body type of guy, as you mentioned, this big X they didn't have last year. I mean, think about it. They had Kobe Prentice, Odom, like just guys didn't really fit in his Odom body type potentially, but a little bit more wiry. But Kobe Prentice certainly didn't. But this is a guy they didn't have last year. I don't know if he's an all-league guy, but like I mentioned, I see Isaiah Horton's role here for Alabama. Whoever the quarterback is under center would be. I think this fits into more of like a third down safety valve, like short, intermediate screen. Like I mentioned, I love him in the screen game. I love him in those short, intermediate routes because he plays with strong hands and he makes contested grabs. He's going to be a guy I think next year we're going to be looking to be like, man, he's the guy. He's Mr. Third Down for him. I like that. Like how he fits in with Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard. Gives him that big body receiver type body there. And again, not from a mass standpoint, but he plays a lot stronger than his probably overall frame would make you believe. So I'm going to go winnable plus here, Bear. I feel like he fits into that room nicely.
Winnable plus. I mean, this is a guy that once again was able to average over 12 yards per catch. This is a guy that made a lot of plays after contact. He's got a big body frame. I feel like that, again, you're looking for that complementary piece. When you build a roster in basketball, you need everyone to be a role player. This is the role player that you have as your prototypical X, run blocking, turning short yards into bigger gains, winning with physicality over finesse. I think that that's what's needed right now. And I think that when you look at currently the status of the wide receiver room, what you're doing is you're giving whoever the quarterback that comes on in more veteranship to where they can trust their targets. I think that Alabama still needs to go out and add in a tight end. I think that Alabama would be willing to also bring in maybe some more offensive linemen to protect their quarterback. But you got a proven guy that has already shown you what he can be at 17 years old, and he's only going to get better than Ryan Williams. You got a guy in Jeremy Bernard, who I don't think is leaving anytime soon. More importantly, he's been with Kalen DeBoer for 2 years. He can have a breakout year in his second season. And now you're bringing in a guy like Isaiah Horton, who could be that difference maker on third down, could be that guy inside the red zone to where they got a double team. And what does this do, Dave? It opens up the rest of the passing attack. It opens up plays for Williams. It opens up plays for Bernard. It opens up plays for the tight end. It opens up plays for Jam Miller out of the backfield. That's what you want when building an offense. The ability to make sure that even if he's not getting the ball, he's affecting the play. Isaiah Horton's going to do that, I think, for Alabama in 2025.
Yeah, Jamarcus Shepard. If this ends up happening, they end up getting him overall, and we are fired up about this. Ultimately, gets onto campus and locks down the deal. Yeah, Jamarcus Shepard did as good a job as you could in the portal to get his top 3 guys going into the spring.
Make sure you like the video, hit the ring notification down below, and make sure that also you hit subscribe. Let us know in the comment section, what do you think of the addition of Isaiah Horton down in Tuscaloosa? Make sure that you follow Dave at Mach 10 Sports, me at Mr. Cole Thompson, and check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. For Dave Shumate, I am Cole Thompson. We're all tied. You got a number 2 pass catcher coming to the plane. Peace.